Tell them it's so for the broken. 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 Tell them it's so for the broken. Yeah. It's so for the broken. Yeah. It's so for the broken. Yeah. It's so for the broken. Boy, look around and need hope. No question.
Welcome to another podcast of Healing Broken Souls. I am Pastor Benny Powell, and I am going to be off screen today, but we got some lovely guests that's going to be with us. As always, we would like for you to like and subscribe and share this with your friends and your family. We're going to talk about a very important topic, but before I do that, I wanted everybody to know that we do have two dynamic young men that are working behind making all this possible. There's Brother Derralyn, and we have Brother Kyren that have made all these things possible for us to be on screen and being heard. We have not mentioned them in the past, and they have been doing such a dynamic job. I just wanted to say how magnificent a job they have been doing for us and for the community. So we're going to be talking about Widows Care and Share Ministry. And they'll fully give you the name and title of it. But one of the things that we have seen in the community is that there is always a loss of a loved one. And for a lot of people, reaching out and finding those people that can help them through the process is sometimes hard, and sometimes a lot of people feel alone. So we're going to have John, and he's going to introduce our guests for today, and we're going to go from there.
We have Billy and Ann, and they go to Solid Rock Church of Warren, and they started this group, Widows Care and Share. It's a small group, support group for one another. So I'm just going to hand it over to you ladies, and I'm going to ask you, Billy. So tell me, what gave you the encouragement to start a group like this?
Okay, I've been a widow for 4 years, just a little over 4 years, and actually God laid this on my heart a little over a year and a half ago, that I needed to be able to help share with other women, because being a widow is a completely different lifestyle. You do not realize until you're in that position what that lifestyle is. And I didn't know it until I became a widow. And so now when someone becomes a widow, I actually speak to them differently than I did before I became a widow. So this group was developed to help widows get together, to share their feelings. It's not a grief group. We do talk about grief. We talk about a lot of ideas. We do other things, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it is to help them share their feelings and the desires of their hearts with one another among ladies who understand.
Okay. Miss Ann.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your story. Why did you come into this group?
Well, I've been good friends with Billy for a long time, and she lives real close to me. I lost my husband 5 years ago. It'll be 5 in January. And it is a whole different lifestyle. He was my financial advisor, my lover, he was about my everything, and we were soulmates for a long time. We met in high school and were married 57 years before he passed. And
57 years, huh?
It's a whole different that comes to you. I miss his math and his astuteness in knowing business, and he handled the money and I didn't, and that's a mistake. I should have been right with him, and I wasn't. And so now I have 2 sons and 2 daughters, and the 2 sons are helping me with my finances. They write the checks and I sign them. And it's a whole different way of living.
Yeah. Let me ask you, ladies, what is the toughest thing about being a widow?
Loneliness is one of the toughest for me. And
Good.
people don't understand that I have a lot of friends. I'm very, very active. I keep busy. I do a lot of different things, and people don't see that loneliness because they think I'm happy. And I am happy. I have a lot of friends, but when you lose your mate, your loved one, you miss the opposite sex companionship. Men don't talk like women. Women don't talk like men. And believe it or not, you need to communicate with that. And so it's a little bit of loneliness that you just don't see. Because once you go in the house and shut the door, you're by yourself.
Yeah.
You can't go in and tell somebody about your day. You can't go in and tell them what happened. It's just a different lifestyle that you have to adjust to. And the widows group doesn't feel the male companionship part, but what we do is we talk about things that are on our hearts, how we feel about that. And is it okay to, we talk about, is it okay to take your wedding ring off? Should you take your wedding ring off? When should you take your wedding ring off? Is it okay to seek out somebody just to go eat out supper with, just to go to a movie with, just somebody to talk to? This particular widows group that we have at Solid Rock, we do a lot of other things besides just discussions. We have civic things that we do for people, like we fill Easter eggs for the Night Civic Center Easter egg hunt. We write notes to people in nursing homes that don't get mail. We are going to be doing Christmas caroling at places. We do fun things too. We like to go out to eat. Everybody likes to go out to eat.
Yes, we do.
And this group also has gotten people who didn't know each other before, and then they can go out with each other because they didn't have anybody to go out with. Of course, we've been to Ivanhoe's. A lot of you who live around the Marion area know where Ivanhoe's is and the famous ice cream. We've been there.
Strawberry shortcake.
Right.
Amen. Amen. Yes.
We've been there to
Yes.
have that. But we just try to fill a little void sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of things planned for the future. I mean, like we plan to go to Shipshawana. We have a lot of things coming up that we're planning on doing. But I think if you're a widow and you feel this loss of companionship, feel the loss of not having anybody to eat with, need a friend, you need somebody just to listen to you cry, because sometimes we start one subject and we end up on another. We could be crying, we could be laughing, we could be doing a lot of different things. And so I encourage you to, if you're at a church, to contact that church and try to get a group started. If you want to come to our group, we would love to have you. We are at Warren, Indiana, but I have people who come from Markle, who come from Van Buren, who come from Huntington. They all come to this group. And it's a small group. If it gets too big, I will divide it up, and we'll have 2 small groups, because when you get the groups too big, people are not open to sharing their feelings. So don't worry about that. Let me worry about whether the group's too big or not. And just come, contact the Solid Rock Church. They'll get all the information to you if you're interested in this group. But it's just a place where we can share. And we know what it feels like to be a widow.
Yes.
It's just a completely different feeling.
Do you see more and more widows coming into the church, or more and more widows becoming widows while in church service? And how does that change the dynamics of even just going to a church service?
Do I see them changing the dynamics coming to church as a widow versus when they came to church not a widow?
So
right?
like if a person has come and they've been going to church for a long time with their spouse.
Right.
And then the person passes away.
Right.
How does that change the dynamic of them attending church after they become widows?
Widows. It didn't change my dynamic because I still went to church every Sunday, although my husband was a very strong Christian. And but this is a couple's world, unfortunately. And even going to church is a couple's world, because the husband and wife sit together, so here you are, you're coming by yourself and you're just sitting alone. So I think it affects a lot of women not wanting to go out by themselves and sit by themselves. I haven't really, the widows in my group mostly attend church. Some of them view it online. But I do think there is a change when you lose your husband, because you don't have that person right there. I know there is one widow in our church who now surrounds herself with her family when she comes to church all the time. She has her family come to her church service because she doesn't want to be alone in church.
Right.
And some of them just quit coming.
Yeah.
They don't come anymore because of the widowhood, and not having their husband there with them. That I never missed. I've always had a feeling within that I needed to be in church, and I started as a babe in arms, and in a Christian church in Banco, Indiana, and I've gone to church. I think when I went to Ball State to school, I didn't go all the time. There was a Presbyterian church near the dorm where I lived that I went once in a while. But there were 4 years that I was, but my husband was there when I went there, and because we were both going there, and he paved the way. And from then on, and when we were married in the church, and that was important to both of us. And we had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, just what I asked for. And we just went. I mean, Sunday morning was church, and the kids never started any fussing around. Once in a while, one of them would have a stomachache, and I'd say, okay, if you're sick, you go to bed and stay in bed until we get home. Mm-hmm. And they mostly went to church, and it's just something we did.
Very cool. Betty?
Yeah, I got a question. So for a person that is a new widow and their loved one has gone on, how do you get them to participate in your group?
If I'm aware that they're just a new widow,
Yes.
I reach out to them. I reach out to them various different ways. Now, right away, they're really not going to want to come to the group, okay? They go, I don't need that. I don't need that, okay? It may take a year before they realize, because the first year you go through a whole different life than you do the second year. Because the first year you're just changing everything over, taking it out of your husband's name, putting it in your name. You've got a lot of stuff that's keeping you busy. But come that second year, that's all done. And now the loneliness starts to set in, and the companionship missing. If they have friends, I have a lot of married couple friends, and they call me, they look after me. But when we're going someplace, like when they go to a concert or something, I'm never really invited because it's a couple's world. But this widows group, we can go together. We can go as a group together, but I reach out to them the best way I can. We just had a recent one 6 months ago pass away. I reached out to her at first and no interest whatsoever. So I don't push it. I'm just there. Every Sunday, I might say something to her every other Sunday, every other month. Not about coming to the group, but just about giving her a hug, and that's it. Just give them a hug. Just know that you love them, and pretty soon they're going to need that. They're going to know that they need that to be there.
It's interesting that you said that the first year is totally different than the second year. So are we saying that for each year it changes, or does it just, you learn to deal with it a little bit different?
You learn to deal with it a little bit different, but the first year is a year where you're grieving the loss, but you have a lot of stuff that you have to do. I mean, I don't know, widowers may be different than widows, but there's a lot of things that you have to change over. You're a single lady now, okay? A lot of things that you have to change. You have to think about where you're going to live. If you're going to live in the same place, you only have one income now. You don't have two. All that changes. So it keeps your mind busy, and the lack of companionship, you don't think about it because you're busy. I don't think you ever will get over not being lonely or not missing your spouse, okay? That's always going to be there. You deal with it a little differently each year, but I think being with other people helps you to deal with that.
Okay, so another question is, for some people, that, as I believe one of you said, that there's a financial complication to it that happens. So normally everybody is not as well off or well prepared for the death of a loved one. So how does that person integrate when their resources are limited?
Okay, well, in our group, I have a sheet of places people can contact if they need financial help with things, or who to call for plumbers. Who can I call for a plumber? Or people that might just help you free of charge. I have a list of contact people that they could go to.
So your group would help them?
They would help them try to find
They would
ways
show
to get
different
that.
resources, yes.
Yeah, different resources to go to.
Yeah. So those who are watching can see that we're a bit aged, for lack of a better term.
Aged?
Aged, yes.
Okay.
So are all widows our age?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
no.
So-
They're not all our age.
So how do we incorporate those that are younger as well as those that are older that could benefit from this? Not necessarily, you had made mention that they don't need this, but could benefit from it. How do we incorporate the different ages?
Well, we try to reach out with different age type activities for them, so that they don't think they're just going to an old ladies group, because we're not all old ladies. But I think we just have to find out what their needs are. Once we find out what their needs are, then we can help them, maybe.
So as a church decides to plan on having a group like this, or a widowers group, noting the demographics of what's in the community and
Correct.
the needs is going to be essential.
Correct.
Do you see yourself getting to a point where it needs to be having somebody else come on who may be younger, who can, like when you
Take
said
the
if it
younger
gets
girls, right.
Yeah, take the younger girls,
Right.
and then if somebody's older, that as well.
Correct.
Okay.
I also see it a difference of how many years you've been a widow also. If you're just a brand new widow versus one lady we have who's been a widow for
32 years.
32 years that started coming to our group because she needed it. So,
Taught
So
us how to crochet.
there you go. My father-in-law, who just passed a short time ago, he was once married and his wife had passed, and he was a widower, and loved her even up until the point of where he had passed. But in the midst of it all, he had just been going out, like you said, looking for somebody to just go out with and just hang out, and met my mother-in-law. And long story short, they fell madly in love with each other, and she gave him permission to continue to love
his first wife.
his first wife. There was no jealousy or no animosity or anything like that. Do you see that happening within your group, as far as do the widows talk about their spouses who have passed, and as they are looking for moving forward? You had said, when do you take the ring off?
If you do.
If you do.
There's no
Right.
wrong answer to that question. But right now, the group that we have right now, because we're just fairly new, I don't see a lot of them looking forward to that, except for myself, and they hear all about mine, right?
Right.
They, because I think they need to know. I think they need to know there's scammers out there. I think they
Yep.
need to know what goes on, and so I tell them what goes on when I'm looking for somebody. But what was your question now?
For them to continue loving somebody
love
throughout the
else.
rest of their life.
Right. I do have one other lady who's probably 84, and she is looking for somebody that just to be a companion with. So it's a little different, yeah.
So you're saying that just because you're a widow don't mean you should stop looking for love.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because I loved my husband for 54 years, and we shared a beautiful life together, and he knew I loved him. And here's what God told me, and he told me. He would not want me to be alone. He would not want me to be lonely, because he knows that I still have a life to live, and I have love to give to other people, a lot of different people. So,
Yeah, and that's good to hear, because a lot of people think that, or believe that, once a spouse dies, that's it. You can't find any more love like that again. So,
and also I think it's a stigma from the community. If you're a widow, if you go out with somebody else, you're disrespecting your husband. You're just respecting the spouse that you lost.
So is that more of a Christian thing or a world thing?
The disrespect?
The stigma that,
I think it's more of a Christian thing, actually, because I don't think the world cares. Okay, the people in the world who are widows, they don't really care. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more of a Christian thing. They look at it. The Christians look at it like, oh my goodness, why would you want to go out with somebody else when you had such a loving husband and he took such good care of you, and you have all those memories with him? Sure, I do, but I'm still lonely. I still have a lot more love in my heart to give, and
so this group helps people understand that.
I am trying to hope that is the point. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question. How do you help the widows overcome the stigma of the abandonment of their departed ones? So an example being, like I've worked heavily in the foster parents group and everything, and the children who are in foster care, they love their foster parents, but they don't want to love them because they feel that they're dishonoring their own parents. So how do the widows get the opportunity to not feel guilty for moving on?
Well, we just started this group, 6-7 months ago, and it's just my desire that I'm expressing through presentations that they will get rid of that stigma. It's just having to interact with one another, and I think some of them now look at me differently because now they know I'm looking for someone, and they just think, oh, well, maybe it is okay to reach out and have supper with some other guy, and where before they didn't have that. It was like, oh, I can't do that. I'm a widow. I just got to eat with the rest of the widows, and but no, we still have fun. We still have a lot of life left in us.
Well, ladies, how can they contact you to get a ministry started in their respective churches? Because a lot of people ain't in Indiana, they may still want to reach out to you.
If you contact the Solid Rock Church at Warren, Indiana, Pastor John will get you the information on how to get in contact with me, and I will help you establish setting up a new group if that's what you would like to do. I'd love to do that. Love to do that.
I want to thank you ladies for sharing and caring for not only one another, but for the widows that are watching us. Thank you ever so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Look around, we need hope. Dark world, we need hope. Broke world, we need hope. We all need hope, need hope, need hope. Look around, we need hope. Broke world, we need hope. We all need hope. But tell them it's hope for the broken. 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 Tell them it's hope for the broken. Yeah. It's hope for the broken. Yeah. It's hope for the broken. Yeah. It's hope for the broken. Boy, look around, we need hope. No question about it. Can't get around, the whole world around us need hope. No escape.